Well, hello and welcome to the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise show. I'm your host, Corey Sievers, and on behalf of everyone here in the Savvy Team Wellness community, congratulations for coming along and joining us again here on the show. So this is what we're calling our Savvy Favorites episode, or one of our Savvy Favorites episodes. And so over the course of the festive season, we'll be bringing you some of our most popular segments and some of the segments we've received the most questions around. So we really want to take the opportunity to give you this information at this time of the year and answer any questions as well. So the Savvy Favorites have been some of the most popular or frequent, the segments we've received frequently asked questions around. So looking forward to sharing some of those with you. So in this particular session, we're talking about fat loss and body transformation. Now, with Christmas parties and all of these sorts of things and the festive season well and truly upon us, this may not be the ideal time to begin a fat loss program or a detox program, but it's a good time to think about it and plan and get educated and prepped so that you can be ready to start once all the festivities and frivolities are over. So many of our community members right now are actually finishing up weight loss programs, and they've done astounding jobs, 10 kilos, 20 kilos in the last couple of months. And so, you know, they're looking pretty hot and looking pretty good for summer and ready to shock the pants off their family members at Christmas, no doubt. But look, we also have people right now that are planning for a detox come the end of the frivolities. So, you know, our detox program and 30-day Eat Savvy challenge is a really good thing to follow up, you know, a festive season, we could say, with. So we have a new intake of that coming up really, really soon. So if you like the idea of cleaning, a little bit of a cellular clean out, then it might be worthwhile having a look at that particular program. So in the coming sessions of the Savvy Favorites, we'll share with you some tips on detox and along that line of getting cleaned up. See, when you get to the end of a year, it's sort of the time to be really thinking about, what did I achieve through the year? What are the things that I want to achieve in the next year? What didn't I like? What do I want to make changes in? And so it's certainly a time when we start to take stock of our health and our lifestyle and that sort of thing. And so it may not be the time to make the changes, but it is the time to get educated and ready so that you can hit the ground running for a fresh and a clear vision for 2020. So we'll be sharing some tips over the Savvy Favorites segment. So in this particular session, it's all about body transformation and fat loss. And so we're going to cross to a segment from earlier in the year called the 4 Savvy Pillars of Body Transformation. After that, we're going to be dealing with the 5 fat-burning ingredients to help you trim down and shape up. So those 5 ingredients are actually contained in just a couple of targeted fat loss products that we use as part of our program. So they can even be something that you add to your current program now to help you to sort of keep the damage away, shall we say, over the festive season. So ask us about that if you want more information around that. But all right, at the end, we'll have a short segment about breaking through your blocks and really being, you know, having the power. We'll be talking about the power of a starting ritual. And whether it's a starting ritual for something you've been procrastinating on in your business or your your job, or just around the home, or even starting a wellness program, it's really important just to get started. You know, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So let's get started. And so first up, we're going to cross over to this earlier segment, this segment from earlier in the year called the 4 Savvy Pillars of Body Transformation. So let's go to that. We'll talk again soon. Welcome along to the show. Again, if we've not met before, my name is Corey Sievers. I'm the co-founder here in the Savvy team and the Director of Wellness Education, amongst other things, and looking forward to sharing with you some tips and insights into our body transformation challenge. And that's what these 4 pillars, the 4 savvy pillars of body transformation are all about. So we're also going to get a little bit geeky at one point there and look at some look at the science of diet and fat loss just a little bit in an easy to understand way. And looking forward to some interesting stuff here. So again, if you're new to what we do here in the Savvy team, we're all about helping you reach a higher level of health and lifestyle. And so when you connect in with our community, you'll have access to step-by-step action plans, innovative solutions, and all the guidance and support that you really need to help you reach that higher level of wellness. And so although we're talking about weight loss and body transformation and all of those sorts of things, we assert really in this arena that many people are simply treating the symptom of, the symptom, weight gain being the symptom of some underlying issues that are at play. And that's one of the things that I hope that these 4 Savvy pillars will help you to really understand, that we've somewhat all been duped by the misinformation out there about what we should and shouldn't eat and what we should and shouldn't do. And so, not that I'm going to be presenting to you too much of the science or anything, but I want to give you a bit of a glimpse into what I mean by all of that. I've been duped in the past. You may have been duped, and it may have led you to struggle with maintaining your weight needlessly, to struggle needlessly. And so that's what I really wanted to cover in this particular session. But, we assert that there are some fundamentals or underlying causes of poor health, and trouble losing weight is one of those signs of issues with your well-being, really. And so we assert that really there's too much toxicity, and that's now been proven by the World Health Organization, naming some of the toxins that are exposed to as obesogens, things that can directly trigger weight gain throughout our life. So too much toxicity and a lack of nutrition. Okay, and so when we look at what we call our illness wellness continuum, most people are focusing on the treatment paradigm. They wait for something negative to show up, a sign or a symptom, and then they look to overcome that, get away from being sick to being not sick, to reach the neutral point in essence. Whereas the paradigm that we follow, the wellness paradigm, really means alongside whatever else you're currently doing, you can focus on holistic well-being, and through awareness, education, growth, you can continue past that neutral point to a high level of wellness. That's what we're here to talk about. And so, I hope that really, you can understand that, in a lot of ways, when we look at, okay, I've put on weight, many times we just are told that, well, I've not moved enough. I'm eating too much and I'm not exercising enough. And yet many of you, maybe you watching this, you may have found that, well, you've cut your diet down to nothing following that advice, and you've tried to do all the right things exercise-wise, and things still haven't shifted. And that's because we really believe that weight management is more of a hormonal deal than it is a simple, energy in, energy out equation as such, which we're sort of led to believe in much of the information that's still spread around to this day. And so I covered the 8 hormones to help you in that whole weight management in the previous session of the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise show. So you might want to go back and take a look at that. Really important information. That's also covered in our Body Transformation Challenge Masterclass, by the way. So you can have a look at that as well. So, when we're talking about this whole issue of body transformation, I guess the important thing is, what does that mean for you? We're not looking to promote any body dysmorphia and promote anything that's, really get into this whole political issue about body image and everything. Here in the Savvy team, we really come from a wellness philosophy, and ask ourselves, what has happened in the past 40 years? And much of the research that we have shows that since the 70s, we've just simply been steadily gaining in weight. And there are some fundamental changes in our food system that we believe has, really triggered much of that. And a lot of that's to do with carbs and sugar. But it's a little bit more than that when we start to delve into the nutrition in foods and all of this sort of thing, and the fear of fat, and all that sort of thing. So, all of that detailed information is beyond the scope of this particular session, but I want to introduce you to these 4 savvy pillars. So first of all, as I said, we covered the 8 essential fat loss hormones and how to get them working for you in a previous session. And as I mentioned, it's also covered in the body transformation challenge. And so we're covering here these 4 savvy pillars of body transformation. So that's what we really want to cover in this session. So to give you, before we jump on into a bit of an experiment, a bit of a demonstration, just so that you know, what are those 4? You might be going, what are those 4? Well, I'll sort that out right now. Number 1 is to be savvy with diet. Really, the type of foods that you eat are responsible for about 80% of your body composition. So if we can understand the foods that can maximize that, then we'll be stacking the odds in our favor. But also, a lot of diets focus too much on macronutrients, so fats, carbs, proteins, all that sort of thing, which is important, and we need to consider that in weight management. But most diets aren't really focused on the micronutrient component. And so, the vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, the nutrition, the polyphenols, the things that we need, the fibers to feed our gut microbiome. And much of the research in weight management is now coming to the fact that we must maintain a healthy microbiome, all of the bacteria inside us. So, we realize there's a lot going on. And I've seen some recent information on the on the web, YouTube, that sort of thing, where people are talking about the mathematics of fat loss and all this sort of stuff. Because truly speaking, yes, there are if you remember your physics, I didn't really enjoy physics, and I didn't really enjoy chemistry. And funnily enough, I enjoyed biology. And so here I find myself in this sort of field. And so people try to simplify it too much. And you've probably heard, it's just energy in and energy out. It's just the law of thermodynamics. That's more of the physics approach. And then there might be the chemistry approach where, no, it's, the breakdown of atoms and all this sort of stuff. And where, when we breathe out, we're breathing out much of our fat. It's broken down, and, all sorts of things you can go into. It's not as simple as that, because when we come to biology, there are other things at play. It's not a simple system. There's another set of rules that come on top of that. And so, yes, energy in, energy out. So if you want to shed weight, eating less and exercising more is wise. That will work. But for those of you who've tried that and wondered why it's so hard at sometimes, or why it doesn't work consistently, there's more at play. With biology, there's a set of rules that come in over the top of that. And if you don't play with those rules, then you're setting yourself up for failure. And that's the whole thing. If you don't understand that there's bacteria that we're dealing with, that we're working with, actually, that are part of what our whole system's about. And there are hormones at play, there's enzyme pathways, there's all these sorts of things. It becomes a little bit more complicated than just simply eat less and exercise more. So that's what those hormonal things were about. So if you have just joined us, we are talking about the 4 pillars of body transformation. And what I wanted to do is give you a little bit of a simple, demonstration of the misinformation that is out there in the area of fat loss and body transformation. So let's transfer to our other camera here, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a science experiment, I guess we can say. We'll get our I'll put my safety glasses on here, since we're getting all geeky and we're dealing with flames. So we're going to have a bit of a demo here, a little bit of an explanation of some of the misinformation, what I believe is the misinformation with regards to fat loss and fat burning and all that sort of thing. even before, when I was looking at different things, I saw from a registered dietitian on WebMD that the best thing for you to have for breakfast is cereal, skim milk, and fresh fruit. From a registered dietitian on WebMD. And then it really made me realize, well, I guess here's the thing that I didn't understand about the system. I've just been reading a book by Robert Kiyosaki called Fake. And one of the things that he mentioned in there is that when he was a kid, he asked his father, he said, why don't they teach money in school, about money in school? I know this is off the topic a bit, but and his father, who was the head of education, actually said, we can only teach what the curriculum states we can teach. And so I really realized, in terms of most people working within the system, the medical system, as dietitians or as doctors and everything, they can only tell you what the system tells them they can tell you. And I think that that's a real shame in terms of the information that comes through in terms of research, that it's not generally passed on down. And here in the Savvy team, we are not practitioners. We are just interested community members, really wanting to spread what's worked for us and what could work for you too. So of course, it's not medical advice or anything like that. So all right, let's look at this little science experiment here, and I'll turn this light off so that you can see things a little bit better. What I wanted to discuss here is we're going to say, let's let this spoon represent your blood sugar. Let's let this little vessel here represent the amount of carbohydrates that can be stored in your body. So in other words, you store, when you eat carbohydrates, sugar, any complex carbohydrates or whatever, then anything that you don't immediately use has to be stored, right? So your body wants to maintain blood sugar very stable. So what happens is your blood sugar goes up and insulin comes in to drop it down. Where does that go? It has to be, it gets shuttled away to be stored. So generally, sugar's either going to be stored as glycogen. You can store around about 500 grams of carbs in your body. That's it. So think about adding up how much you eat on a daily basis, how much you exercise and all that sort of thing. This is how much your blood sugar, not really to scale, but your blood sugar can hold about a teaspoon of carbs, a teaspoon of sugar, that's it. Your body can store about 500 grams of carbohydrates as glycogen in the muscles and the liver, and anything that spills over here has to be stored as fat. So we're going to let this candle and the wax here, equal fat. Some of you might see this little fellow over here and go, for me, this is more realistic. This is the sort of amount that I'm dealing with. But nevertheless, we'll use this one here. So what happens is that we are metabolically set up. When we don't follow these 4 savvy pillars of body transformation, we become metabolically deranged in essence and unable to actually access fat for fuel. So what you've been told is, so if we have carbs and then we end up in the storage, we'll just look at this as burning carbohydrates. So we have a meal of carbohydrates, for example, and we burn it. All right, so we burn it there. You can probably see that flame going on there. So we burn those carbs, and we're told that I was told that you need to eat frequently to stoke your metabolic fire. But what about the fat over here? What about the fat? When does that get a chance to be burnt? Because if you're burning carbohydrates, you won't be burning fat. Yeah, it's true, you can burn a mix of fuel, but generally, if all you're ever eating is carbohydrate-rich foods, what's happening to the fat? When do you get a chance to have that? So we are told we should eat 6 small meals a day to stoke our metabolic fire. But the only time that we get a chance to burn that is when our body runs out of carbohydrates. In between meals, we can start burning fat. And so what happens is most of the time, all of the dietary advice actually says that we should be eating complex carbohydrates, to fuel our energy levels and everything. And we don't train our body to be able to burn fat. Yet this is what we're wanting to actually burn up. And so a lot of the times what happens is when we have too much of that, that carbohydrate metabolism, our body becomes what we call resistant. When we have too much blood sugar released, we end up with high amounts of insulin in the body, and the body becomes insulin resistant. When we have lots of fat in our body becomes leptin resistant. And we covered this in those 8 hormones. And so what that means is that if leptin is really a hormone signaled to your brain from your fat cells, if you've become leptin resistant, there's just no way that we can burn fat. The signals are not getting through to basically say, I'm no longer hungry. Leptin is a hunger-related hormone. So in other words, you could have all of this fat here, but if you're leptin resistant and if the signal isn't getting through to your brain, then there's no way for you to burn it. And why has that happened? Why can we end up overweight and yet not be able to burn all this fat? If the more fat we have, the more leptin we have, which is supposed to, in a normal condition, turn off our hunger, what has gone wrong? Well, it turns out that too much of this insulin, too much sugar, actually creates that block. So not only are we hungry and the signal that we've got a lot of fat is not getting through, but we have absolutely no way of being able to burn that fat. And so we just get hungry and we go for more sugar and we burn that. Or we get into this supposed starvation mode where our body actually does need to break down protein for fuel. So I hope that explains a little bit there that what we want to do over time is we want to decrease the carbohydrate load, really, so that we can start burning fat. Maybe I should, don't play with fire at home. And that means if we become more metabolically flexible, it means that even if we do have some carbs, we can eat the carbs and we can still keep burning fat. And it doesn't really make any difference. And the thing is that when we actually run out of carbs and it's like in between meals or there's nothing to eat, our body goes, no problem, just burns fat. So we change that metabolic derangement and train our body to be able to burn fat. And so when we use this particular example here, if you are carrying a whole lot of excess weight, wouldn't it be a good idea if we could actually trigger the burning of that and the consistent burning of that? So, yes, we may be able to still have a little bit over here, but the pillars about understanding how diet changes your ability to access fat for fuel. The second pillar is be savvy with supplements. How we can use targeted supplementation to be able to access fat for fuel. How we can utilize exercise to be able to specifically target fat. Most exercise triggers cravings and triggers a desire for carbohydrates. So how do we exercise so that we trigger the right hormonal environment to be able to burn fat rather than burn sugar? And then the last pillar is be savvy with your lifestyle. So hope that that particular demonstration helps you a little bit. What we want to do is make sure that you become no longer resistant to insulin, no longer resistant to leptin, and no longer resistant to losing fat. So as I was saying before, many people are simply treating the symptoms and not really addressing the underlying causes of weight gain. And so that's what a lot of the time leads to the yo-yo dieting. If you don't address these things, then the yo-yoing just continues to keep happening. So number one was be savvy with diet. We need to really look at the food choices. Are you eating too many carbs? How many meals are you having? Are you snacking? Because what happens is, when we look at the statistics of the number of meals that have been had away from home and at home and everything and all that sort of thing, we're simply looking at statistics. We eat more meals than we used to back in the 70s and earlier. So, the average was maybe 2 or 3 meals a day, no snacking, and everyone was slim. So we've got into this situation where we can't even go between meals without having something to eat. And that's the opportunity when our insulin drops low enough that our body can maybe use fat for fuel when it's fat adapted, when we've got access to that candle wax. So, to start to correct that, we need to do things like eliminate snacking, start to stack our meals more with healthier proteins and fats and lots of vegetables and away from the rich carbohydrate diet. And so I totally disagree that the best, my candle was still burning over here. So one's okay, but one was burning away. So I totally disagree with the fact that cereal, skim milk, and fruit is the best way to start the day. In fact, that's one of the ways to set yourself up for adrenal burnout and leptin resistance, really. So anyway, and insulin resistance too. So we need to change that, and so you can start with the Eat Savvy Diet. It's a free download that helps you to educate your food choices. The keto diet, low carb approach, all of those sorts of things we certainly endorse. I've done some explanations about what Eat Savvy is about compared to low carb, keto, paleo, all those sorts of things. So, but all of those diets that optimize proteins and fats and vegetables are going to set you up well for better body transformation and better weight maintenance. So then we need to be savvy with our supplements. We can use targeted supplements to really help you to access fat for fuel, to reduce cravings, to speed up fat mobilization and burning, and boost energy levels, for example, as well as offset some of the potential challenges that you can have when you're shedding fat. So what are some of the things that you might like to know about? Well, we utilize a product with conjugated linoleic acid, and it's a great one that's certainly making its way around the traps of the internet somewhat, because what it does is it can help almost like a traffic cop divert the energy from fat in your diet, and instead of any excess energy, instead of it being stored as fat, more candle wax, it can divert it to be burnt in the muscle tissue. So, and that's through some enzyme metabolism pathways there. So just think about that. If you're being savvy with your diet, but the fat that's there, wouldn't you like it? The fat that's in your diet, wouldn't you like it to go towards helping you with energy metabolism, helping you to have general energy? So and burn it off with the muscle tissue and maybe even grow some muscle. So that's one of the benefits of conjugated linoleic acid that we work with in the Body Transformation Challenge. Another ingredient that we work with, some citrus polyphenols. This is actually a patented ingredient that uses extracts from Mediterranean citrus fruits along with guarana and these sorts of things. And what it does is it specifically does have the ability to target central obesity. And it's really, really operating on the lipolysis concept. So in other words, it's helping your body to break down the triglycerides that are in your fat cells. So you can sort of see that not one ingredient and not one strategy can do everything, but when we start to stack them. If we have an ingredient that's directing the fat to the muscle cells to be burnt, if we have an ingredient that's helping to break up through the process of lipolysis the fat cells, another ingredient, so that's the citrus polyphenols, another ingredient is L-carnitine. L-carnitine can help like an usher usher the fat, the triglycerides, the free fatty acids that have been broken down from the fat cells, from the triglycerides, it can usher the free fatty acids into the mitochondria to be burnt for energy or heat. So it's like an usher. So again, and then we have things like caffeine and green tea and all these sorts of things, which can also trigger a thermogenic effect, raise your metabolism and help you to simply use more energy. But, you don't need to use those sorts of things. Another thermogenic effect is simply to maintain, be a little bit cold. Now we're getting into the be savvy with lifestyle. So maybe I'll wait till we get there. So the next pillar is to be savvy with exercise, the right activity to support and optimize body composition. So, when we look at going for a jog, if we look at going for a jog, it's almost guaranteed to trigger cortisol, trigger hunger. It's if you measure what's called the respiratory quotient, you're most likely burning fully carbohydrates for fuel, meaning that you're going to get hungry. You're going to need more carbs later on. Whereas if you're doing a lot of walking and a lot of movement through the day, that doesn't need a lot of carbohydrates. So you're mostly probably either burning the energy that you have eaten from your diet, or you're able to burn fat. And there's usually a mix of fuels, carbohydrate and fat. Your body can burn other things like ketones and protein, all that sort of thing. So yeah, we want to use the right activity to optimize our body composition. And so lots of walking, sprinting every now and then, that triggers growth hormone in the body and can trigger an afterburn. It's not just during the exercise that we're interested in what happens after. And so sprinting creates an afterburn effect where with massive fat loss, especially if you don't go and have carbohydrates straight after. And same thing with lifting weights. It's a hormonal adaptation. So walk, sprint, and lift, we like to say, don't jog. If you love jogging and it's something that you really enjoy, then go for it. But it's interesting in some of the things like some of the cardiovascular sessions that we've held. I've shared with you some people such as Dr. Stephen Gundry, a cardiologist, Dr. William Davis, a cardiologist. Both of them used to jog, and both of them were overweight. And they both no longer jog, and they're able to maintain their weight more. Now, I'm not saying that you can't be a svelte jogger. I'm just saying that a lot of the times it actually increases cortisol and cravings and doesn't allow you to maintain your best body composition. So I would do it if you enjoy it, not as a method for fat loss. Now, by the way, exercise is a very inefficient way to burn off fat. It's important for the hormonal adaptation, so don't get me wrong, it's one of the fundamentals here. But go and look it up. Just Google it. Google how much calories burnt in this much exercise on a treadmill, or this much on an elliptical thing, or this much on a bike. You'll be shocked. And then have a look at how much is in a cookie, how much is in an apple, how much is in your favorite foods or whatever, and you'll be shocked at how long you'll have to run to burn off a cookie. So exercise is an inefficient way to burn the fat. It's important. I'm not saying that exercise is not important, but you can't outrun a poor diet. That's really what I'm looking to express to you. Don't get me wrong, we believe in exercise. We are not, because of all of the hormonal adaptations, because of all of the endocrine system, because of the health effect, the cardiovascular effects, the lymphatic system effects, the mitochondrial density effects, there are lots of programs out there that say you don't need to exercise and everything. Well, you don't need to exercise to shed fat. We can help you do that, but you'll want to exercise if you want longevity and an increased health span. Okay? Let's get off my soapbox there, but anyway, then you want to be savvy with your lifestyle. Sleep it off. Sleep off the fat. If you don't get sufficient sleep, it messes up all the hormonal system there and your ability to actually shed fat. Chemicals. The World Health Organization has identified that some chemicals are even labeled as obesogens. They have the ability to directly trigger you to hold on to fat. They've done studies with mice and everything about this issue. Get outdoors, get some sunshine. Vitamin D helps with fat loss and body transformation as well. Drink plenty of water, these sorts of things. And so in the lifestyle thing, this is what I was going to mention before. You can take thermogenic formulas, like, for example, some people just have caffeine and chili pepper, for example, cayenne pepper. That elevates your metabolic rate as such. So you can take caffeine, you can take other thermogenic pills, but just being a little bit cool actually bumps up your metabolism considerably. So, often we feel cold because we're not cold adapted. And so we warm up and bundle up and all that sort of thing, which actually stops our adaptation, just like constantly eating carbohydrates stops our fat adaptation in the example that we were talking about before. So just allowing yourself to be a little bit cool significantly bumps up your metabolism. Okay, so and also activates what's called brown fat, which is a more active mitochondrial dense fat that helps to keep you warm even. So anyway, many of you who have followed me on social media and everything, I'm into a bit of cold exposure. But just today in the office here, it was about 17 degrees, and I'm just in a t-shirt and shorts. Now, it felt cold, yes. But why was I doing that? Because you get adapted, and it just ups your metabolic rate a little bit more. Allows you maybe to have that extra cookie if you've already lost your weight. Anyway, so really, as I've said before, body transformation is more of a hormonal deal, and so that's what we're really wanting to do, to maximize that the hormonal balance. And so, as I said, covered that in a previous session, so you might want to go and have a look at that. I did mention before about the conjugated linoleic acid, so we do have some other sessions on that, and we have a really groundbreaking world first combination of conjugated linoleic acid as well as the collagen HA matrix technology that we utilize for the benefit of skin and joints. So, if you're interested in something that can help with your body shape, this part of our body transformation challenge, but it can also just be added to any other program that you're doing. So you might want to look out for that. And the benefit of that what we use here too in the CLA is that many times you have to have like 10, 12 gel caps to get the therapeutic dose, whereas the patented form that we use is concentrated, so you can get everything that you need just in one daily dose taken off a spoon. Tasty stuff too. So lots of different research around CLA and its benefits for being and the anti-obesity mechanisms really. So these are 8 bad habits that can lead to weight gain. So number 1 is the eating amnesia. Very often, you're sitting in front of the TV, for example, and eating, and you don't even remember that you ate it all. You didn't even enjoy it. It was just habitual. Okay? So you want to avoid that. If you're going to eat something that might be naughty, enjoy it. Be mindfully present when you eat the chocolate cake or whatever. Okay? So, some sensible indulgences are great, but make sure that you're not just putting it down there without any awareness. Enjoy the process. Getting too little sleep also can mess up your hormones, make you more hungry, those sorts of things. That's another bad habit that can lead to weight gain. After dinner treats, this tends to be mindless eating. It tends to be the sweets that we go for as well. So try doing some other things. Replace things in there. A cup of tea. We utilize a fibrous chocolate drink for people who are struggling with cravings late at night. So you actually have something warm like a hot chocolate, and yet it's all the natural fibers that are good for your gut bugs. So that's an issue. After dinner treats. Starvation mode shopping. one of the things that we go through in, we say that it's not your fault if you've put on fat because of the misinformation that's out there, because of the fast food and packaged food marketing. They get you in, and this is one of the challenges. If you're hungry and you go off to the shops, you're more, and go off without planning, you're more likely to end up buying all of the wrong things. So the next one is eating on the run. So just grabbing something, and often you grab the wrong type of food, so you haven't planned in advance, and you eat on the run. There are a few downsides to that. Again, you're not mindful of it. You may choose the wrong things, which only trigger more hunger later on. And often those packaged foods are full of chemicals that can even upset your thyroid and other issues related to your metabolism as well. So avoid that if you can. Drinking without thinking. So beer, alcohol, soft wine, soft drinks, they all go down pretty easily. And when you start to add up the calories, there are a lot of calories. And, we were doing carbohydrates and fat with our little demonstration there with the carbs being what we were burning in a little pot, and then the candle wax being the fat. But, in essence, if you drink alcohol, your body actually has to burn that off first, then it gets to the carbohydrates, and then it gets to the fat. So it's really easy to overdo it when you do all of that sort of thing. So drinking without thinking, just be careful of that. Because if you're overweight, then it's an issue. So the wrong breakfast can be an issue as well, but that's another issue. I mentioned before about the registered dietitian on WebMD saying the best breakfast is cereal, skim milk, and fresh fruit. That's not satiating. It's not satiating, almost guaranteed to set you up for hunger later on, for blood sugar spikes, those sorts of things. So I just don't even know where that information comes from. I don't even know why they're teaching that still. Just outdated information. So anyway, portion distortion, according to my personal opinion. Portion distortion. We tend to eat everything that's put on our plate, right? You do that too? So whether it's at home or on the go, portions tend to be huge these days. So, learn to eye up calories. If you've lost weight and you're seeing that you're progressing, and you've learned to eye up calories on a plate, then again, if you're eating out or eating at friends or whatever, just learn to eye up the portions there. Portion distortion. And the last one is confusing fat-free with calorie-free. As I said, this misinformation in the marketing arena and everything, a lot of healthy things are marketed, a lot of fat-free things are marketed as healthy just because they're low in fat. But that's misinformation in essence. They've replaced the fat with sugar, so they're higher in sugar, and that means, if we go back to our little demonstration, that we're simply eating more of the carbohydrates and not even getting access to the fat stores. So again, take a look at the calories in some of the foods, and then just have a look at the exercise that you would need to burn that off. It's incredible. So I hope you found the 4 savvy pillars of body transformation valuable, and also the little science experiment demonstration about how we need to become more metabolically flexible if we truly want to get on top of in control of our weight management moving into the future. So in that particular session, I covered one of the pillars being be savvy with supplements. And so I thought now we jump on into dealing with 5 natural fat burning ingredients to help you trim down and shape up. And so we actually use a combination of these ingredients in our body transformation challenge. And so you'll get a glimpse at just how powerful they are to really help you in your weight loss efforts. So if you're really looking for support and guidance, then I would encourage you to reach out to us and let's sort of get you set up for doing the body transformation challenge. If you'd like to go even faster with losing fat, then our fastest approach is the rapid fat loss protocol. So, talk to a Savvy Team Wellness Guide and let's work out what the best plan is for you and your situation. So let's jump on into the 5 natural fat burning ingredients to help you trim down and shape up. Before we jump on into that, please do understand that the information that I'll be sharing reflects my personal research and experiences and is for educational purposes only, so should not be seen as medical advice. The information is general in nature, and so all individual health concerns have not been taken into account. Any comments and experiences from me or from anyone else sharing should not be interpreted as medical advice or therapeutic claims. If you have any question as to the appropriateness of the information with regards to your own health, do discuss this with your healthcare provider. That being said, we encourage you to take self-responsibility for your own well-being and learn more on this topic and complementary medicine in general, because having an assumption that your doctor is the font of all knowledge and keeps up to date with the research that I'll be sharing with you is a bit naive on your part, sorry. And it's also naive if your doctor thinks they know it all as well. All of this research I'll be sharing with you is backed up in medical journals and other research documentation, so, plenty of information out there. First fat burner I wanted to share with you is coffee bean extract. Now, you probably already know that coffee beans are loaded with antioxidants and other active compounds, and 2 of the most important compounds are caffeine, which you've no doubt heard about, and chlorogenic acid, which you may not have heard about. It's the chlorogenic acid that is believed to be one of the active ingredients that relate to fat loss benefits. So unfortunately, here's the kicker. Chlorogenic acid is removed as soon as we roast the coffee. So yes, for that reason, being a regular coffee drinker, whether you're a coffee drinker, I'm a coffee drinker, if you're drinking coffee, unfortunately, you are getting the caffeine, which is a thermogenic fat burner, but you're missing out on the chlorogenic acid as well. And so for this reason that just drinking coffee or taking caffeine pills, for example, is nowhere near as getting the actual fruit extract, okay, with both of these components. So really having both of these components, caffeine from coffee bean extract, as well as the chlorogenic acid and all of the other polyphenols and beneficial antioxidant components in coffee, gives you a terrific all-round fat loss effect, really. Now, some human studies suggest that that it actually reduces the absorption of carbohydrates from the digestive tract, so therefore lowering blood sugar and insulin spikes. So if this research is indeed mostly part of the mechanism there, then taking coffee bean extract would be, in essence, sort of like eating a lower carb diet as such. So other studies in mice and rats have shown that chlorogenic acid from the coffee bean extract can reduce body weight, reduce fat absorption from the diet, and reduce fat stored in the liver, thereby improving the function of fat metabolism and even improving the function of the fat-burning hormone adiponectin. Okay, so also chlorogenic acid has been shown to drastically improve cholesterol and triglyceride levels, and so therefore has an impact on reducing cardiovascular disease risk. There have been a number of different human studies in the area of the green coffee bean extract, and these are the so-called randomized controlled trials, which means they're the gold standard in terms of human scientific experiments. And this is what happened. They took 30 overweight individuals, so 30 overweight people, for 12 weeks, divided them into 2 groups, one that consumed regular coffee, okay, sort of as the method of delivery, regular coffee, and the other just coffee with the green coffee bean extract added in. So the caffeine and the chlorogenic acid would be there, and all the polyphenols as well. So neither group, the groups were instructed not to change their diet or their exercise habits. And this is what happened. So the graph that we have here shows that the placebo, in essence, the instant coffee, yes, through the caffeine, they did reduce their weight a little bit there, but nowhere near as much as when they actually took the coffee and the green coffee extract, the coffee bean extract. So this is just showing the loss from the 12 weeks there. So as you can see, the group taking the coffee with the coffee bean extract, they actually lost 5.4 kilos, being instructed not to change their diet or exercise, 5.4 kilos over the 12 weeks with just this one change, while the group taking just using the instant coffee supplement, lost 1.7 kilos. So that's actually quite a good result, since this is just one of our 5 natural fat burners. But it's also why, we use different thermogenic formulas here in the Savvy team as part of our fat loss programs. And I've had some people that have seen formulas, and they should know better based on the fact that they work in the personal training arena and all that sort of thing, and they just look at it and think, oh, it's just caffeine. And that's why I'm going through this information, to alert you to the fact, no, it's not. There are some thermogenic formulas out there that do use pure pharmaceutical grade caffeine. So the chemical stuff, not the natural stuff. So you're missing out on the chlorogenic acid, you're missing out on the additional polyphenols, and coffee drinkers do have a reduction in many causes of many different issues, such as heart disease and cancer, and it's assumed that it's part of the additional polyphenols obtained from the coffee. So we want these natural bioactive components, and you do get that when you're using a fat burner such as coffee bean extract, not just caffeine. Nice stuff. Now we'll talk about green tea extract. So yes, green tea itself can certainly speed up the rate at which your body burns energy. In fact, they believe that it can, consuming lots of green tea can increase your cellular energy by up to 40%, according to research reported in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. So green tea definitely has been used in fat burners, and research has, does assert that it's a combination potentially of the caffeine and the flavonoids found in the tea. And they believe it's particularly the catechin known as EGCG, okay? And so green tea is loaded with all sorts of other antioxidants that are called catechins, and so the most prominent one is this EGCG, and when we're talking about fat burning here, it can boost your metabolism. Now, although a cup of green tea certainly increases your antioxidant levels, most studies have examined the green tea extract because of the concentration in these catechins, okay? So EGCG can stimulate metabolism as well as, provide the antioxidant benefits, which can improve heart health. So studies show that it can reduce food intake as well as fat absorption. So when fat isn't absorbed, it can pass through your digestive system and into your stool and out of the body, and thereby reduce your calorie consumption as such. Green tea extract also increases your body's energy use because it improves the thermogenesis level, okay? But beyond that, again, many people just think, oh yeah, it's because of it's another dose of caffeine. So we get caffeine from coffee bean, we get caffeine from green tea, and so they're just multiple sources of natural caffeine. More than that, because the catechin EGCG appears to increase the GLUT4 transporters, so glucose transporter type 4. Now, you don't need to know all of that, all of that technical stuff, but what does that mean? When it increases the GLUT4 recruitment it can increase the GLUT4 recruitment to the muscle cells while decreasing the GLUT4 recruitment to the fat cells. Are you getting the message here? So taking green tea extract along with a thermogenic blend can decrease your fat absorption, the transport of carbohydrates to your fat cells, but can increase the transport to the muscle cells where it can be burnt for energy. In other words, it appears to limit the storage of carbs while preferentially diverting the carbs to energize your muscle cells. Here's another one that's not just about caffeine. it appears to increase apoptosis of the fat cells. So apoptosis, if you've been in some of our anti-aging classes and everything, apoptosis is the programmed cell death, and it's sort of, and we want some of that. Autophagy, the self-cleaning, is sort of about this same sort of concept here. But what apoptosis of the fat cells means is that essentially the fat cells realize that they're not needed, so they commit suicide as such. And so when you lose fat, when you go on a diet and lose fat and everything, your fat cells shrink, but they don't disappear. And that's why you can rebound and put on weight. So what you want to do is you want to change the stimulus. That's why it bugs me so much when people say you can lose weight without exercise. It's true. You can. Absolutely. But if you don't then also change the stimulus, there's no change to the epigenetic stimulus on the body so that the body knows what it's supposed to do. So it keeps those fat cells around. Whereas if you suddenly put more energy into exercise, it's programming the body that the body needs more muscle cells, less fat cells, so it actually can increase the apoptosis of those fat cells. Because your body doesn't need the storage anymore. It knows that you're going to be burning fat from now on. If it's been programmed to store fat, it knows it doesn't want to dump any of these storage cylinders, so it keeps them. But the interesting thing is the green tea extract here can actually increase that programmed cell death, that fat cells committing suicide. So if you want your fat cells to commit suicide and get the hell out of here, then some green tea extract is probably part of the way to go there. So as far as drinking tea, you can certainly drink tea, but all the research has been done around the actual catechin, the extract. I'm not personally a fan of drinking green tea, not that I don't think it's great for you, but I tend to practice intermittent fasting, which means I don't tend to eat for periods of the day, and so I will consume non-calorie things, and I will have coffee and those sorts of things during the day. And so tea would technically be something that you could consume during a fast. Personally, I find tea stimulates my appetite. And when you think about it, many Asian cultures will start with a bit of just a small green tea before a meal. It does have certain digestive stimulating properties, whereas caffeine and coffee has hunger blunting properties. So me personally, that's how I found it. If I have black tea or green tea, it stimulates hunger for me. And so I leave that alone, stick to the coffee. But I do include matcha green tea and green smoothies and all those sorts of things, as well as every now and then take a fat burning supplement that has the ECGC in it before a workout. So some ideas for you there. So that's the green tea extract. Next thing I wanted to mention to you was citrus polyphenols. Now, there are certain bioactive polyphenols that can be extracted from citrus, and they can have very powerful body weight management benefits. Take naringenin. It's a bioflavonoid that can be extracted from grapefruit, and it can extend the fat-burning effect of caffeine when you take it alongside. When you take the naringenin alongside caffeine, it can extend its fat-burning effect. And this is because of the way this can change the liver's ability to detox things such as caffeine. So again, sometimes if you're on medication and everything, it can slow down your body's detoxing of medication. So again, that's where if you're on a whole bunch of medications, it's wise to talk with a doctor. But naringenin balances out blood sugar levels and can help you to prevent metabolic syndrome. So that's the pre-diabetic condition associated with weight gain, particularly around the middle. So scientists at the University of Western Ontario found it worked by programming the liver to burn up excess fat rather than store it. So you might remember, for those of you old enough to remember, there was something known as the grapefruit diet around for one period of time. This is part of the mechanism. But grapefruit extracts and citrus polyphenols have been observed to have a little bit more of an effect than that. Researchers believe that it's via an enzyme called AMP-activated protein kinase. So AMPK for short, so AMPK, which appears to get activated with these concentrated citrus extracts. So when AMPK gets activated, it encourages your body's energy-producing processes like glucose uptake, which then helps boost metabolism and can in turn encourage weight loss. So, see, AMPK is generally activated during exercise to help the muscles use stored sugar and fat for energy. And so what's happening is, so again, if you're not exercising, these sorts of polyphenols can still stimulate that same pathway, that same enzyme pathways. So in our programs, in some of our programs here in terms of weight loss and weight management, we do use a patented weight loss supplement that is formulated around Mediterranean citrus fruits such as red, orange, and grapefruit and other orange extracts. And they really put together the actual bioactive polyphenols along with guarana, which has other polyphenols as well as caffeine, and have created a patented targeted weight management ingredient, really. And so what some of these ingredients do is stimulate lipolysis. Now, lipolysis is the process that leads to the breakdown of triglycerides stored in your fat cells. So breaking down the fat cells and releasing free fatty acids. So, helping those bigger fat cells break down, release the energy into the bloodstream so it can be burned. So whereas things like green tea and caffeine and everything, these are thermogenic formulas, so they raise the metabolic impact, the fat burning effect, because it's the metabolic rate producing heat. These are non-thermogenic components. So they have a lipolytic impact, so directly breaking up fat cells and releasing free fatty acids into the bloodstream. And so it's different. It's working, and if you're consuming these in a formula, it's working in different ways. So there's more to fat burners than simply boosting your metabolism, which is what some of the older fashioned ones used to do. Just contain things like caffeine and cayenne pepper and those sorts of things just to raise heat in your body. But acting together, the polyphenols from the citrus extract along with guarana really produce, the studies have shown, a more profound effect than any of them individually. And that's been clinically proven, by the way. So can really help you to create a healthier body composition and body shape. Because what the studies have shown is that because it's changing the way the fuel is utilized in your body, and helping your body's fat cells to break down and muscle cells to utilize the energy, it improves your body composition. So fat can come down and muscle mass can come up. So helping your all-round body composition. So some of these extracts that we utilize have proven fat loss. So for example, some of the people in the study dropped an average of 10% of their abdominal fat mass during the time of the study. Their waist and hip circumference reduced by an average of 5 centimeters without dietary modification and exercise programs. So we certainly recommend that you look at dietary modification and exercise, but looking at whether these sorts of formulas actually have an individual impact, it's nice to know that without the changes, they have a statistical relevance, so that it's sort of like what you get to do is you get to stack the benefits together. Change your diet, improve your activity, take a fat burning formula, reduce inflammation, improve your all-round health, improve your gut microbiome over time, those sorts of things. And all of those things stack together, meaning a healthier, trimmer looking you. So another clinical study looked at 77 overweight and obese people. It had confirmed benefits over a 4-month period. Participants dropped an average of 63% of their excess body fat mass, as measured by the DEXA scan. So that's pretty much the gold standard in terms of looking at fat mass to muscle mass and bone mass ratios there. So not only did they lose significant weight, but they definitely gained lean muscle mass. So they improved their body composition. And this is the sort of thing that we're actually seeing. So their fat mass came down compared to placebo, while at the same time increasing their lean mass. So a true body recomposition effect. So you certainly don't turn fat to muscle, but in essence, that's sort of like what has happened. Okay, but there's a lot of biological processes going on, and these formulas have been specifically, scientifically put together to be able to, activate the pathways to help this to happen. So in some, and here's another one here, another looking at waist and hip reduction. So again, targeted belly and thigh fat reduction. I mean, isn't that what everyone's really looking for? So, and here's another looking here. The reduction of abdominal fat was significant over placebo after 12 weeks. Reduction in waist size, reduction in hip size, body fat decrease while a lean mass increase. So powerful fat burning capabilities. So that's certainly something that we use in the Australia-New Zealand region. Some of the formulas that we use, I just wanted to mention this particular additional ingredient. And it's called fucoxanthin. And so due to product availability around the world, we use different formulas in our programs. And so I'm just mentioning some of these different things in this particular segment here. But fucoxanthin is a carotenoid pigment that comes from brown seaweed. And it's very good for inflammatory conditions in the body, but it has fat burning and antioxidant properties. A whole bunch of other health benefits as well, but it's certainly been documented as being anti-obesity and skin protective, liver protective, those sorts of things too. But it's certainly, from a fat burner point of view, it did really improve things in a significant way. And what it was able to do is break down the actual fat tissue through several different mechanisms, and one of them was increasing that fat-burning hormone adiponectin. And certainly my study showed that consuming fucoxanthin, there was a significant rise in adiponectin, which is the hormone responsible for breaking down fat for fuel. So they also believe there are other mechanisms that go on there, such as the androgen receptors, and mitochondrial function and metabolic rate, all improving through supplementation with fucoxanthin. As well, it tended to balance blood glucose levels, so it had a blood sugar balancing property too. And so I wanted to mention fucoxanthin because that's something that we utilize in programs in other parts of the world, such as the US and Canadian market. L-carnitine. Now, L-carnitine is a naturally occurring amino acid. So, you know that proteins are made up of amino acids. And so it is often taken as a supplement and used in the weight loss arena. It also has a very good impact on brain function. Now, your body can produce L-carnitine from other amino acids, such as lysine and methionine. But it plays a crucial role in the production of energy and your mitochondrial function. And so, if you've been on any of our other classes, you know that we're big on looking after your M&Ms, your mitochondria, and your microbiome. Well, the mitochondria are like your energy cells, your energy factories within the cell, and they burn fats to create usable energy, really. So for your body to produce significant amounts of energy, it needs to be able to get access to these fats. And one of the things, L-carnitine can improve that function. One of the challenges is that it's a conditionally essential amino acid, so your body can produce it, but For it to produce it in sufficient amounts, you need those independent amino acids. You need plenty of vitamin C. And since most people don't eat enough vegetables and sufficient fruits that are ripened and everything, then most people are deficient in vitamin C. And it's sort of similar to collagen synthesis. If you've been on any of our other web classes where we talk about collagen, improving collagen in the body, one of the downsides for collagen synthesis is vitamin C and antioxidant deficiency. So again, we're not eating the right foods to supply us with all of the micronutrients for our body to manufacture some of these components. So that's where supplementation in the short term is certainly wise as we long term look to improve our diet, reaching for more of a whole food way of living. So L-carnitine is, as I said, produced in your body, but also you get small amounts in things like meat and fish. Vegans or people with certain genetic issues, chances are they're low in L-carnitine, okay? So, and this is why many people do supplement with it. So there are several different forms. The form that we're probably most concerned with here is the tartrate form, so L-carnitine tartrate. And this is the one that's most relevant to body recomposition. It's rapidly absorbed, and it also has an impact on reducing muscle soreness and helping you to be able to recover from physical activity as well. So L-carnitine's main role in the body does involve the mitochondrial function and energy production, as I mentioned before, but in cells, it helps transport the fatty acids, similar to what we've been talking about before, into the mitochondria so they can be burnt, so the fats can be burnt for energy. So as part of a formula, thinking about the ingredients that I've already spoken about before and why not one thing is important. You know, we can talk about these all individually, but it's about stacking them or synergistically combining them for best impact. Sort of like foods and everything else in a nice recipe. All of the individual things might not taste any good or have a very good impact, but when we combine them in a synergistic way, the cake is made, for example. Not that you should be eating cake, but anyway. Especially made from wheat flour, because that's going to put weight on you. But anyway, that's for an eat savvy diet conversation. So what I was saying there is, if you think about what we mentioned before, you can see that some ingredients can help to free up fatty acids from the fat cells. Other ingredients can transport them to the places where they can be burnt. So this is where, that's what I was meaning by synergistic impact of these different ingredients. So with exercise performance, L-carnitine can help you, as I mentioned before, maybe recover quicker. It can help your muscle oxygen supply. It can help your stamina, help reduce muscle soreness, help red blood cell production. So that helps with the transport of oxygen around the body. So it may also increase that enzyme that I mentioned before, like the citrus polyphenols, the AMPK. So it helps your body's ability to use carbs. So in summary, it's going to help you burn fat, may even help your energy levels, your mental performance, and even reduce things like heart disease and type 2 diabetes. So, you know, for most people, from a safety point of view, all of these ingredients are fairly safe and well documented. So for most people, when we look at L-carnitine, you know, for the amount that it's taken and for the length of time, if you're using it to, you know, shape down, you know, trim down and shape up as such, then it's not a continued thing. As part of a safe formula, it's very, very, you know, well documented as having a benefit. So next one we want to talk about is conjugated linoleic acid, or CLA. Now, CLA is a pretty powerful one from a body composition, a body recomposition point of view. It's pretty much one of the most researched ingredients designed to optimize your body composition. So studies from several places indicate that its ability to reduce body fat levels while increasing the lean body mass. So, you know, that's why we utilize it in some of the programs that, you know, that we use as far as body recomposition. A few of the major food sources of CLA, you may be getting CLA, conjugated linoleic acid, in things such as nuts, seeds, mushrooms, grass-fed dairy products, whole milk, cheeses, beef, butter, especially if they're from pastured sources. And, if you follow the Eat Savvy diet methodology, then you know that we're big on wild-caught, grass-fed, pastured things like that and organic stuff. And so certainly there's more CLA, naturally occurring CLA, in those foods. And that's well documented for its benefits in the body. But research from certain studies suggests that CLA can increase strength, reduce appetite, and produce a number of benefits in terms of body recomposition, as I mentioned, such as in a study in the British Journal of Nutrition, they found that using CLA with overweight and obese people, using a therapeutic dose of over 3 grams per day for 24 weeks, the subjects decreased their body fat and increased their lean body mass. So, and also there were no other negative effects in terms of blood lipid levels, inflammation, or insulin response in these people studied. And when I was saying before, you can get CLA from some of the natural food sources such as grass-fed dairy and pastured dairy and grass-fed beef. It's a different form to what's used in supplements. So you're not going to get to the therapeutic dose from food alone. So you're not going to get to the 3 gram day. So any of the food sources is going to be beneficial for you, but then you're wanting to supplement with that, and that's usually from a safflower derivative product. So your best bet to increase CLA in the body is to follow the Eat Savvy approach. Maybe look at fermented dairy, yogurt, grass-fed meats, those sorts of things, wild-caught seafood, and then to dose up with the therapeutic dose. And this is, as I said, around about 3 grams a day. Now, the challenge here is you may have seen CLA out there, and most of them, they throw it in there to make the claims, throw it into a supplement to make therapeutic claims because it's a widely studied ingredient, but they don't put enough in it to have an effect. We're talking here the therapeutic dose is over 3 grams a day, and for some fat-burning tablets, that may mean you need to take 10 or more of capsules per day, and that's why that rarely happens. So it's the concentration that makes all the difference there. So in one study, men and women who consume CLA daily, they again increased their body lean mass, decreased their overall fat, reduced bad cholesterol levels, increased muscle strength. Another study of obese postmenopausal women used CLA. It had a dramatic reduction in their BMI and their total body mass. A recent meta-analysis of 18 peer-reviewed studies confirmed that CLA was able to have fat-reducing effects. In fact, one of the studies was on a branded CLA supplement that showed that this particular ingredient targeted the mid-region. So, in other words, the fat, the belly fat and thigh fat. Volunteers in the study lost an average of 2 kilos of fat from the legs and the waist area. Significant fat loss was observed in as little as 3 months, independent of physical exercise or dieting. So people losing 2 kilos, centimeters, many centimeters, because remember it's also decreasing fat mass while increasing lean body mass. So they gained lean body mass and reduced on average of 2 kilos of fat from the legs and the waist and observed centimeter changes. So, obviously some of those studies look at it independent of diet and exercise, but of course, here in the Savvy team, we recommend that these sorts of things can help you kickstart your fat loss regime, get the confidence, get the excitement to start to make other changes in your lifestyle to continue those results and lock in those new results with more of a lifestyle change. So research into how CLA improves body composition has shown that it influences many of the enzymes involved in fat metabolism. And so it modifies a lot of the metabolic process. It appears to interact with cell receptors, activate responses that lead to the reduction of fat in the fat stores, and activate many of the enzymes that stimulate the breakdown of fats. So this means that it reduces your storage of fat, at the same time releases fat to be burned at a higher rate. So therefore, there's an overall reduction in fat mass, increase in lean mass, and a shape change. So it's interesting that although it's widely studied, scientists still are not certain of the exact mechanisms for fat loss, but they do believe that one reason is that it inhibits the activity of the enzyme lipoprotein lipase. And this is an enzyme that transfers fats from the bloodstream into the fat cells. So as a result of the decreased enzyme activity, the transport of fat into the fat cells is blocked. So now again, if we start to stack this with some of the other things, we're blocking transport of fat into the fat cells. Some of the other things like the ECGC from green tea causing fat cells to commit suicide. Other things are helping the fat to come from the fat cells and be burnt for energy in the mitochondria. So when we start to stack these ingredients on top of each other, you can see the powerful systemic benefit for overall fat reduction. And then if we start to exercise and we improve our diet and lifestyle, we reach for more of a ketogenic, a clean ketogenic, eat-savvy lifestyle is what we recommend. Then we start to really get the results stacking up. Yeah, so CLA also stimulates, may also stimulate the apoptosis. So as I mentioned there, the programmed cell death of the fat cells. So decreasing the number of existing fat cells over time. And they believe this is particularly important if you follow a strict diet to reduce weight quickly. Following it up with CLA supplementation can be advantageous because you've reduced the size of your fat cells quite quickly, but they're still there. If you can include these fat-burning ingredients in there that can also stimulate apoptosis or the suicide of the fat cells, then you're going to reduce the number of fat cells and thereby less likely to have that rebound effect, in the future. So, pretty good all round when we talk about all these things, good weight loss stabilization effect here. So also a 2007 study at the University of Wisconsin-Madison confirmed that CLA supplementation increased calorie and fat burning during the night by almost 15% compared to the control group. So when you think about that might not be that much, but if you've looked at our Fat Loss Maximizer toolbox, we have a masterclass around that and other training around that for our members inside our wellness community. Any little bit that doesn't take much to implement in your lifestyle, like drinking a bit of cold water, staying a little bit cool, that the coolness there can ramp up fat burning. CLA supplementation can increase your nighttime fat burning. So therefore, just while you're sleeping, you're burning fat at a slightly elevated rate. Sleep and grow slim. So, not quite. But anyway, that's CLA. Some other tips here for fat burning and everything. Guarana's often included in those formulas. It certainly is in what we use with the citrus polyphenols there. But it has the highest concentration of caffeine in any plant, along with a rich source of polyphenol. So it has a good thermogenic effect for increased energy, enhanced mental focus, fat burning, and all that sort of thing. Another one there is probiotics and supplements. Research has shown a definite link between your microbiome health and your risk of being overweight. So much so that even with studies in mice and everything, they can take the bugs, all the bacteria, kill off all the original bacteria in a mouse, put fat bacteria into a mouse, and the mouse puts on weight without a change in diet, and swap it around like that. Have a mouse that's overweight become skinny again just by changing the bacteria. So your gut bugs are controlling you. If you've been on some of our gut wellness programs and all those sorts of things, you know that I've talked about the microbiome is communicating with your mitochondria. And that, in one program I said that they're sort of like brothers from another mother, because we know that saying. But since your mitochondria come from your mum and your original microbiome comes from your mother, and then is fed by breastfeeding, theoretically it's a sisterhood. You're not brothers from another mother, it's a sisterhood here. So your mitochondria and your microbiome, they've got some communication going on here, and it's a lot more detailed than you really realize. So what we have to do is we have to look after your microbiome, and it will look after you. And that's what the Eat Savvy diet's factored around. It's not necessarily about reducing calories and changing and reducing your weight. It's about changing the dynamics of what's going on inside of you so that you naturally approach a healthier version of you. But probiotics can push that forward, like taking probiotic and prebiotic fibers can sort of kickstart the change in your microbiome. Chromium, taking chromium and it can help with lean muscle mass and promote fat loss as well and reduce your cravings, that sort of thing. Cinnamon can help to blunt the insulin response of foods, thereby helping you to avoid fat gain, especially if you've gone and done some naughty stuff. Same as like white kidney bean extract can be used to inhibit the absorption of carbohydrates if you're going to be naughty and consume those carbs. Apple cider vinegar before a meal can help you feel fuller and eat less food, reduce your cravings, and improve your digestion so that you get more of the proteins and amino acids from your food. Coconut oil, thanks to the MCTs, the medium chain fatty acids in there, can help your body to burn fat for fuel and use energy every day at a faster rate. So coconut oil is a good one. Swapping out refined oils for more natural oils such as coconut oil, very powerful. Protein foods and protein powders are beneficial for reducing hunger and cravings and, of course, improving your lean muscle mass. With regards to protein powders such as the whey protein, the problem with whey protein powders is that they're very rapidly absorbed and spike insulin, so they're not ideal for fat loss. And so unless you want the insulin spike, they're fine for a post-workout meal, for example, or shake, because you want to spike insulin. But otherwise, the pea proteins and the hemp seed proteins, these slow digesting plant proteins, are probably more beneficial for you. So in a study of 60 overweight and obese participants, they found that a higher protein diet was almost twice as effective at helping the people burn fat than just something that had low protein. And that's because it can curb the appetite and help a whole bunch of other hunger and fullness hormones. So, and protein powders are obviously a good way of increasing your protein intake. What you've got to be careful with there is make sure that there's no other additives and sweeteners and chemicals and everything into your protein powder. And that's why we recommend very safe and clean options. Keep in mind, though, I guess, when you're looking to burn fat, that calories are still important here, and especially consuming high amounts of protein and between meal snacks and all that sort of thing means that your body never gets the chance to use its fat stores, which in essence is what we're looking to do. Now, collagen supplementation and bone broths can make a big difference too, help with prevent muscle breakdown on a diet and help to detoxify your body, heal your gut, those sorts of things. Soluble fiber, very, very powerful too. It acts to attract and absorb water in your digestive tract, and that can help that feeling of fullness, curb your appetite, those sorts of things. But also soluble fiber can activate or increase the levels of the hormones that are related to decreasing hunger. So, for example, in one study, people found that what they did was that they found that people who ate the most fiber absorbed fewer calories from their diet. So again, that's why often taking a fiber supplement before a meal can help you to eat less and slow down the absorption as well. So slow down a spike of insulin, which is important too. So a few other tips: get off the artificial sweeteners. Many of these can be weight gain inducing. Yes, they may be low carb and everything, but they can directly interact. It can destroy your microbiome. They can impact your thyroid, and both of those things are implicated in fat gain. Get plenty of sleep, because you want to reduce your stress levels, your cortisol levels, and because cortisol will help you to keep the weight on. Give yourself plenty of recovery time between workouts as well, because otherwise you again increase cortisol levels. Drink plenty of water, manage your stress, and again, remember what I said before, improve your microbiome. So there you have it. There's some of the 5 natural fat burners. And so we do have a free masterclass as well, not on all of those sorts of things, but on our Fat Loss Maximizer Toolbox, where we talk about some of the things such as the benefit of cold exposure, the benefit of doing a detox, the benefit of being careful with chemicals you put on your skin, the benefit of fasting, certain types of exercise strategies that are proven to improve your fat loss more. For example, too many people are doing what I call chronic cardio, and this does not help in the long term. We need intense short burst exercise, okay? That also helps our mitochondria. So we also recently did a web class on the 3 reasons that it's not your fault if you're having trouble losing weight. So that's available as a free online class. But if you're looking for some help in terms of shedding excess fat and really creating a good body composition, looking at your best shape, then we have programs to help you. And so I'll just give you a brief overview of our 4 key programs. They all center around our free Eat Savvy diet, and we have 12 points to get started on the Healthy Wealthy Wise blog, and a download cheat sheet for you to look at what foods are going to optimize your microbiome and help your all-around health. So that forms the basics, the basis of all of our programs, really. And we have our Savvy Detox that addresses underlying issues, increases vitality, and many people lose weight as a byproduct of improving their health. It's great as a month's preparation for the other programs, though. But we've had users experience anywhere from a 1 kilo to a 20 kilo weight loss just from doing the detox, not even trying to lose weight, just sort of like doing the Eat Savvy along with the detox. Okay, so powerful results there because you're optimizing your body's function and and improving your microbiome, and that helps you to lose weight. We have our Mediterranean-inspired M3 Plus regime, and that relates to why it's called M3 Plus. There's a take 3 specific product solutions, make 3 lifestyle change commitment, make 3 lifestyle change commitments, and commit to 3 months. Okay, so it's the difference with this one is it's not designed as a holistic health improvement philosophy, although health may improve as a byproduct of the changes in your lifestyle. So we have a whole range of extra encouragements there to get better and lasting results. So along with the Savvy Detox, one of our most popular programs is the Rapid Fat Loss Program. And this, many people go from might start on the Eat Savvy diet and the detox, and then move to a stricter rapid fat loss protocol to really shed some weight fast. This incorporates a tightly restricted eating plan where portions are measured and all calories are strictly counted so that you can lose weight quickly, really quickly. So it's a short-term program that's repeated in cycles until your goal is achieved. So think about it right now. How much you weigh right now. Would you like to be 10 to 15% less than you weigh now within the next month? That's what the Rapid Fat Loss Protocol can do for you, okay? It can help you shed fat fast, but it's cyclical. You don't keep going at that rate of fat loss. We need to lock in your new weight and then help to improve your health, and then go again and go again. So it's a cyclical based program. But then we have our body transformation challenge, and this is really about helping active people to improve their body recomposition and their shape. So this is for people who are not as interested in the scale weight, but they want to look sexier. Okay, so it's about body recomposition and shape change. So decreasing fat mass whilst increasing lean muscle mass. That can have a dramatic, because of the fact that fat, in terms of the same fat to muscle, for example, muscle is denser than fat. And so the same kilo of fat looks a lot different on your body to a kilo of muscle. And so this is where you really want to take measurements and even DEXA scans, for example, to really look at your body recomposition change. We encourage an eat savvy, clean, keto inspired eating pattern. So we're reducing the complex carbohydrates, whole food, optimizing fat, healthy amounts of protein, lots of vegetables, and those sorts of things. We encourage targeted exercise suggestions. It's not suitable for you really if you love to run for an hour a day, because just increases too much cortisol in the body from our point of view. But if you're ready for targeted, intense exercise that can really build muscle and change your body shape, then this program could be for you. Supplements that we encourage are targeted at body recomposition, all-round wellness, as well as your energy and vitality. And of course, we do have our Fat Loss Maximizer Toolbox, which you can bolt on to any of the different programs that you're following for additional benefits. Take, for example, cold exposure. Cold exposure and fasting are not built into our programs here, but I've utilized them in programs that I've done. So they're not just some extra things. They're all in our Fat Loss Maximizer Toolbox. I'd like to give you some results from the community. Now, I'm going to go through these fairly quickly because it's beyond the scope of this session today to really share with you these sorts of results, but I want to whet your appetite as to what's possible in terms of quick results. So many people are seeing shape changes like that. So significant reduction in waste. You heard me talk about some of the ingredients that we utilize, reduce the waist circumference. So really quick results, even in a matter of a week. So you'll notice a lot of changes around the midsection, again, because that's the targeted technology that I've been just going through that really targets that mid region. Again, quick results. People of all different backgrounds and body shapes and everything getting results. And I commend the bravery of these people for sharing their pictures with us. Many women really noticing a tightening up of the skin tone and cellulite too, reduction. But again, lots of changes to midsection fat, sometimes dramatic. So, and sometimes there's not a significant change in shape, but you notice the skin firmness improving, and this is again body recomposition. When we see muscle tone increase and fat cells go down, it actually changes the appearance of the skin tone as well. Okay, so rapid results here, and you can see a lot of midsection changes for people. So, you can imagine also what that's doing in reducing your risk of disease. Because visceral fat around the belly and everything is certainly linked to a higher incidence of cardiovascular disease. So, look, you can start with our Eat Savvy diet. Start practicing looking for looking for healthier food choices. And many people begin to lose weight very, very quickly, improve their body composition there. And then you can then put the pedal to the metal, so to speak, with some of the programs. And that's a free download. And on our blog, we have the 12 steps to get you started on the Eat Savvy diet. But, If you'd like to know more about how we can help any of those programs, then we do have an online form we call our How Can We Help form. I'd encourage you to fill that out and let us know what your wellness goals are. But if you'd like to just keep an eye on some of the results going on with different people, then request an invitation into our Healthy, Wealthy, Wise private Facebook group. So I hope you found that segment on the 5 natural fat-burning ingredients valuable. And so again, we have those sorts of ingredients along with other types of supplements that help to curb cravings and deal with, your blood sugar imbalances and all of that. We build all of this sort of nutrition into our programs just to make it super simple for you to stick with it. So to overcome those sticking points. So again, if you have any questions, do reach out to us. And as I mentioned there, fill out the How Can We Help form and we can invite you in to the community. So if you've ever struggled to make a decision and actually move forward with something in life, whether it be starting a fat loss program or a detox program or tackle some work project or home project, then you need to know about the 5-second rule. So not the 5-second rule where, if it lands on the floor, it's safe to eat it after 5 seconds, but the one that gets you into action and out of your comfort zone towards achieving your goals, to achieving whether it be a weight loss goal or whether it be a lifestyle, family, or financial goal or whatever. So to introduce you to this segment, we have the author of the 5-second rule, Mel Robbins. So let's jump on into this segment, which is all about having a starting ritual and about the 5-second rule. What I wanted to share with you in this particular topic was actually some information from Mel Robbins, the author of the 5-second rule. So Mel Robbins, we're going to be sharing with you a couple of little videos talking about beating procrastination and having no excuses and really being able to move towards getting things done and not being stopped by procrastination. So if you're new to what Mel Robbins is all about and you don't really know what the 5-second rule is, then what I'm going to do is just share an introduction to what Mel talks about in terms of the 5-second rule.
Notice I said simple. I didn't say easy. And the reason why it's not easy is because you have to deal with you. And now we know that you're a control freak and you're stubborn and you got all these excuses. You're a real pain. And I'm going to teach you, though, the very, very simple way to get what you want. There's only one rule when it comes to productivity. There's only one rule when it comes to success. There's only one rule to getting everything you've ever wanted. And here it is. You're never going to feel like it. Ever. In any area of your life that you don't have what you want, whether it's the amount of money, the amount of people on your team, the amount of sales, the amount of trips for your family, if you only did the things that you don't feel like doing, you'd have everything you've ever wanted. Those areas where you're happy, you do the work. Those areas where you're complaining, you don't feel like it, so you don't do it. So it's a lot like kids. If you think about it, what's your job as a parent? It's to make kids do the things they don't feel like doing so they can grow up and move out and become independent adults. My son never feels like getting off the DS. He never feels like putting his feet down when he's in the car. My daughter never feels like cleaning up the Barbies. I have no idea why they're always naked, by the way. Always naked. And the funny thing is, when you grew up and moved out, your parents never said to you, guess what? You are a total pain in the rear end. You never feel like doing anything. You don't feel like doing your homework. You don't feel like going out. You don't feel like making your bed. You don't feel like saying hello to strangers. You don't feel like using your manners. You don't feel like cleaning your room. Good luck to you. So the only way to get what you want is to parent yourself, but I'm going to make it easy for you. We're about to move. You've learned a ton about the brain now. The brain is going to screw you over. The brain is going to go into autopilot. The brain is going to tell you it doesn't feel like doing things. It's trickery. You now know that. So how do you be effective with yourself knowing that you're never going to feel like doing all the work that it takes to have this business be everything that it possibly could? So you're going to use the 5-second rule. And what that means is this. From the moment that you have the idea, I should email out the fall collection. I should go through the contact list for my college or university and reach out to people. I should go through my contact lists and invite 23 people this week to just take the dogs for a walk. I should make a request of a friend and ask if I can come do a presentation at lunch at his law firm. From the second you have that idea, you've only got 5 seconds to take action. Otherwise, it's gone. Your brain will swoop in so fast, it'll be like, uh-oh, there's an idea. No way. No way. You don't feel like it. You're overwhelmed. You've got 5 seconds, and that's it. Today, I want you to practice this because what you're going to notice is you're going to notice a little bit later, like in the networking section and afterwards and in some of these events after this particular speech, you're going to notice that you have an impulse. You have an impulse to walk towards somebody that's really successful, that's built a team that could possibly help you. And guess what? You're not going to do it. You've probably had them the entire time that you've been here. Oh, I should go over and talk to this person. I'll catch them later. Oh, that person looks really interesting. I don't know. I should really take some photos of this fall line and start to, that might be too pushy. So what you do, how does it work? You have the thought, you've got 5 seconds, that's it. And what do you need to do? Just say something out loud, that's one way. You could start walking. The second you feel like you should meet somebody because you're drawn to them, again, it's from here, it's not from here, start walking. Because if you're already walking, the likelihood is you'll actually make it to them. And then you're going to say something. Write it down, schedule it, send an email to yourself, or make the request.
That's the 5-second rule. So when you come up with an idea, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go do it. Just get yourself to do it. And that's the concept of a starting ritual, just knowing that, all right, that's an idea. I'm not going to feel like it. Everything that I want for myself exists outside my current comfort zone. So everything that I want, I'm not going to feel like doing. So that's what Mel Robbins and the 5-second rule is really all about. Just going, all right, that's an idea. That's a really good idea. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. I should get out of bed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I should ring that client. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I should... That's it. So let's now look at what Mel has to say about beating procrastination.
How many procrastinators are in the room? Raise your hand. And everybody else is just procrastinating on raising their hand. I'm about to change your life because this piece of research changed mine. Procrastination has nothing to do with work. The people that write to us the most that struggle with procrastinating, PhD students, engineers, entrepreneurs, people that have a lot on their plate, that have a lot of things that they need to juggle, and that are analytical and thinkers by nature. Procrastination is a form of stress relief. What are you stressed about?
I want to get out of this business of real estate. I want to retire in the next 5 years, and I can't because I have not saved up. I have not gotten the money that I need to do that.
Bingo, and it makes you upset, doesn't it? Yeah. How many of you can relate to that? She said that what's stressing her out is she wants to retire. She hasn't saved up enough money. What's really stressing you out is finances and money and the fear that you have. What happens when you struggle with procrastinating, and thank you for being so honest, there's that stresses you out. Maybe you feel the same way. I mean, we felt that way. I know exactly what you're talking about. You carry around this dark cloud because you don't think you're going to make it and you're stressed about money all the time. Or maybe your mom's health is declining and that really stresses you out. Or maybe your best friends are going through a divorce or you're going through a divorce and that really stresses you out. And so you walk around with this big ass thing on your shoulders all the time. And then you walk into work and you sit down and you've got a list of phone calls to make, which requires your prefrontal cortex. And your prefrontal cortex looks at the list and is like, oh my God, You want me to make 15 phone calls? I've been worried about the money all day. Can we just look at cat videos? I need a break. And next thing you know, 2 hours is gone. You've been online shopping, you've been looking at cat videos, and then of course you look at the 15 phone calls, you're like, I didn't make them. The research on procrastination is undeniable. It's black and white. Number one, all of you that procrastinate, procrastination's not the issue, it's stress. You're procrastinating to give yourself a little break at work. It's sort of like taking a smoking break almost, you know? You're just taking a break. So number one, because you're all stressed out and procrastinators are very hard on yourselves, this is gonna sound super stupid, but you gotta forgive yourself. You have got to actually have a talk with yourself where you feel yourself starting to procrastinate. You go, look, I know I really screwed up. I know I'm in a mess financially. I forgive myself. I'm just gonna do the best that I can. So you have to address the thing that's underneath it. So that self-awareness of knowing, oh my God, here's that stress again about finances screwing me over and preventing me from doing the small things that will actually fix my finances. Second thing that you're gonna do, procrastination's a habit, right? You get triggered by stress, the habit is to procrastinate. So when you get triggered by stress, your new habit is, oh, there's my stress again. I'm gonna actually tell myself, okay, you've done the best you can. It's okay, we're gonna do a little bit today. You're gonna create what we call starting ritual. A starting ritual is something that pushes you to start. The best one on the planet, the 5-second rule. So you've said, okay, there's my stress again. I forgive myself. Now we're gonna 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I want you to only work for 5 minutes. That's it, 5 minutes. Make phone calls for 5 minutes. Here's what we know based on the research. 80% of you will keep going. The trick is starting. You see, I want to break the connection between the trigger, which is stress, and the response, which is procrastination. And whenever you feel stress, which is normal, you have a choice. Here's that gap. In 5 seconds flat, the habit of procrastinating and beating yourself up will take over. Or you can close the gap, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you can make a different choice. I'm just gonna get started. I'm just gonna be okay with where I'm at, and I'm just gonna get started. Got it? Good. Welcome.
So interesting information. Hey, so I mean, really, that's it. That when you come up with the idea, or you've got a lot of things on your to-do list, you know, it's like forgive yourself for wanting to procrastinate. Promise yourself that you're just going to get started. That you're just going to do a little bit. You're not going to work for hours. I'm just going to do a little bit. I'm just going to at least get started. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me just make one phone call. Let me work for 5 minutes. Boom. And the research shows that you're more likely to continue. But you're not taking action on that simple thing because of the overwhelm of thinking you're going to get the whole lot done. The journey of the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. You know, whether that's health improvement, you know, your journey of health improvement, or whether it's getting things done. That's it. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go do it. So some really powerful information there from Mel Robbins, and that 5-second rule can make such a big difference for you. And so obviously in those particular segments, Mel was speaking for business organizations, but the same thing holds true for you procrastinating on moving forward with your wellness goals as well. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, take an action towards it. Whether it be body transformation or detox or whatever, or if you've been thinking about contacting us and doing one of our programs, or you've been thinking about starting on the Eat Savvy 30-day challenge, or you've been thinking about making some change, then we can help. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do it. Let's do it together. All right. So it's really about forgiving yourself for the fact that you've let things happen. You've let your health degenerate. You've let yourself maybe get overweight. But beating yourself up will not help anything. It's about taking action and looking for the guidance and support. So the reality is, if there's something that you'd like to improve about your health and wellness, we can guide you there. So just, get past it, forgive yourself, reach out, and let's get you started. Look, if there's something that you found insightful about this show, something that you'd like to be included in the Savvy Favorites, then please do make a comment or reach out, message us. We'd love to hear your thoughts. So, for your best wellness journey, you're going to want a plan. You're going to want some specific solutions to help you to tackle the sticking points for you in your goals. You'll want guidance, and it's just more fun to have a community around you. And that's what we are here for. That's what the Savvy team is here to help you with. So how can we help you? Fill out the How Can We Help form. Come and join us, request an invitation into the community, and let's get you started. Even if it's just right now, you sort of getting a little bit of a handle on the information ready to start after the festive season, or whether it's like, all right, I'm done. Let's get this party started. The health party, the wellness party, not the other party. You get what I mean. So just request an invitation. But look, thanks for joining us here on the Healthy Wealthy Wise show. It's great to have you with us. And again, we really would love to know your thoughts, any insights, things that you'd like to know more about. We're here to present ideas, strategies, hints and tips to help you reach a high level of health and wellness. So that's it from me for this particular session. Look forward to catching up with you on an upcoming session. So Corey Sievers here with the Healthy Wealthy Wise show, encouraging you to be savvy. All the best. See you next time.